Alright, so I'm going to do this one time. This is the only time I'm going to do this because, well, quite frankly, this is a waste of my time. This is time, I don't have much time. And this time needs to be spent doing something a little bit more constructive, but I'm open-minded, and hopefully this will make people more open-minded too when I'm telling them something that I actually do know what I'm talking about. So I've got the same CPU in here from last night. Now, let's see. That CPU is going to bug. I just flashed to the 3.20 BIOS. We'll show you when we go on the screen. This CPU is going to bug. This CPU is going to bug. This CPU is going to bug. This CPU might not bug. And this CPU might not bug. So we're going to put them all in. I'm only going to run one memory stick. I just flashed the BIOS and I rebooted. I cleared the CMOS, which there's the CMOS cleared right now. CMOS jumper is cleared. See it? It's on the clear position. So, new BIOS is in. We're going to see if I'm right. Without even having flashed to this BIOS, I'm going to tell you it's gonna bug. Never used it before, but I know it's gonna bug. And the reason why I know it's gonna bug is because I talked to Azrak last night, and they confirmed they finally found the bug. So, if they found the bug, they're gonna be on the newest BIOS. So I really don't need to do this. I'm doing this for using my phone. So here we go. And I'm not going to go with different ways to set the CPU because the way I'm doing it should work. And if it doesn't work, then it's not working. Period. Trying it a different way doesn't matter because it's supposed to work this way. It's been working this way until something changed. So this is the way I've always overclocked this board. I have done the 32 meg world record this way. 4000 there. I don't touch that voltage. I've always touched this voltage. I've always run fixed mode, and I've always run 1.40 as a baseline with a level 3, which just happens to be what it auto sets at. In this BIOS, 3.2, still auto switching. So that bug still exists. And just to show, this is 3.20 BIOS. 3.20. This is the BIOS that supposedly fixes it. So, anyway. We got a 4000, 1.4 volts. Let's see what CPU-Z says. Just because people think that for some reason that you need to update to the newest CPU-Z, which by the way was actually updated for Intel chips, not Ryzen, because there's no problem. They didn't need to be updated for Ryzen. It needed to be updated. That's why they've updated CPU-Z. But I'll run Cinebench just to show the really horrible scores. Moment of truth. And once again, we are at 2200. It is still an Azrak Tai Chi. It is on 3.20 BIOS. We have the memory left to defaults like we were suggested. We're in single channel. There is no excuse for the CPU not to be at 4000 right now. And we did 4000 on the stock cooler, so it's not the stock cooler causing this problem. We did it last night on the Asus in the last video. So maybe CPU-Z is wrong. CPU-Z is wrong, and all these cores are not at 2199. So if that's the case, and we're at 4 gig, we should be getting about 1770 to 1800. Let's see how long it takes to do Cinebench. We'll minimize it because minimizing is better scores. Don't want any reason not to have a good score. And I can already tell it looks slow. It looks very slow. It looks like it's going to score like 900 points. Slow. Or less. 2200? Yeah, 900 points. Probably around 900 points. Give or take 100. I'm not perfect at gauging all this stuff, but I'm pretty damn close. $866. Well, I definitely wouldn't have hit the lucky number, but I'm pretty spot on. So anyway, that's that CPU. I'm going to shut this down. We're going to try another one. No, we do not want to say of our pitiful score. So, not only is this pretty much a waste of my time, but you guys are also wasting my paste. I have to put paste on every time I do this. Do you have any idea how much paste I go through on Threadripper doing this? Alright, actually. So, there's 1800. There's the 1800 that Azrock has. Its home is wide open. So, like I said, this chip, this chip, this chip, this chip. Well, actually, we're not going to use these. These are just 1200s. They're whatever. We're going to use the 1700 Pros. We're going to use the what is this? 1400, 1800X, and the 1700X. And I believe these two might not bug. I know this is going to bug. This is going to bug. This is going to bug. Let's see if I'm right. Waste of paste. Put the CMOS. Power back on. Fire in the hole. Alright, for this chip, I'm going to set it at 3.9 because this is not as good as the 1800X. It's a 1700X. So, we'll try 3900. And 1.4 volts. F10. let's see what we're at. We're not even gonna run Cinebench, we're just gonna rip through these chips in CPU-Z since we've already confirmed that CPU-Z is actually accurate, does not need to be updated. So, contestant number 2. 2197. Moving on to the next chip. There's CMOS. Chip in the tray, and now I gotta clean the chip off on top of it, and I'm getting fingers all dirty. Now we're gonna put this one in and get a good grip on it. This is my 3600 IMC. Want to see 3600 IMC in action? I'll show you 3600 IMC in action, just for shits and giggles. When I say that a chip does what it says it does it. And I will state, as a disclaimer, that this is not your typical chip right here. This is not typical, not all Ryzen chips do this. Do not expect your chip to do this. Thing back on. Fire in the hole. Where the hell is my screwdriver? I don't know, I got another one here. And this is all with, like, I'm not even going to change anything. I'm just going to load the settings. Okay, so same thing, manual 3.9. What the hell's going on? 3.9, 3900. Fixed 1.4, and then low XMP, which is 3600. Look at the timings it put up. 15, 15, 15. Okay, F10. Watch this bad boy. Oh, nope. Now it's doing it. Probably because I threw an overclock at it. Usually that chip boots at 3600. Making a lion out of me today. Let me try something real quick. Sometimes your memory is not seated properly on these stupid boards. It's probably due to the fact that I tried to throw an overclock at it. Well, let's find out. When I tested it last time, I just threw it. We'll just reset it. Screw it. So it was going to downclock. So I'm just going to throw it at stop and show you what happens. Because, like I said, the BIOS being flaky and having this problem causes other problems that shouldn't be there. So you're trying to diagnose one problem, and another problem is causing another problem, and it's called, basically, it's called a false report. If you sit there and send a bunch of false problems into ASRock, to fix, they're chasing ghosts that don't exist when there's a number one problem causing a lot of other problems. Look at this, 3600. Let's see what happens this time. Look at that. Now keep in mind that this is stock, so the CPU is actually overclocked compared to the 2200 speed it was running at. So the bug is actually causing the chip not to run spec or run the speeds of memory that it can run. That is called a domino effect problem. And if I was to bug report that, I would be wasting ASRock's time. It actually does this sometimes when you start pushing. I already know this chip's not 3600 stable, so. But ASRock board will hang sometimes on the first boot, and then the second boot, it'll just load right up. Now, like I said before last night, this is not a 3600 stable chip. It's a 3600 boot chip. You can load the settings and rip and go, and it'll boot most of the time. But it's making a lot out of me today. Probably because it's hot. With the other cooler on it, it does. Anyway, screw that. Most of you already know that you wouldn't even gotten that far. That was enough to prove my point that changing the CPU matters. If I put that other CPU in, it would never have gotten past F9 ever. That chip is not a good, it has a low VID, it's a good core clocker, but it is not a good memory clocker. This one is vice versa. This has a good IMC, capable of about 3466, but it has horrible cores, like I think 3.8 at 1.4 volts. That one I think does 3.9, but it has like 33 memory, maybe 3200, borderline. Fine tuning. So anyway, cleared that. Clock mode manual. Oh, something like that. Manual. We just wasted a bunch of time doing that, playing around with that stuff. 39,000 is not going to boot. 400 will boot. Clean all this paste off my chips I already cleaned. So now I'm burning through paper towels with alcohol. And I have to rewrite the labeling on them because alcohol is wiping it off. See all this work you guys made me do? I could have been reporting other problems on the hell. This thing doing an update. Oh, I might be mad because of the memory. These little 1200 chips, they're actually beasts. I think one of them does like 4.1 overclock or something. But they don't go anywhere because they don't have enough threads. Oh, I know what was probably going on. It's just so damn slow because the CPU speed is so slow. So, here we go again. So this is chip number 3. 2200. Now, some people are at 1500 and they think they have a different bug, but I'm going to show you what's going on with that real quick. because I can change the speed that this thing works at. So all settings, you go into power, and you go into power and sleep, and you go into power settings, and you change this to, and I think it was, what was it, balanced? I think balanced gave it to me. Or was it AMD balanced? I think it was balanced. So never save changes, close, and nope. Alright. Which one was it? I think it was, maybe it was low power. Power saver. So anyway. Oh, you know what it is? I think you have to boot. I think you have to reboot to get it to work, but I think it was balanced and power saver both set your CPU speed at 1500 instead of the 2200 bug. Anyway, just thought I would point that out, that is why some people are saying 1500. And of course, I am an overclocker, so I run on high performance all the time. Anyway, shut this down, go to the next chip. Let's throw a chip in that might not bug this time. So we'll throw my 1400 in. Waste some more paste. Let's see, damn it. Fire in the hole. Now this chip, I know for a fact on the other BIOS, I could set this and I could set this and it would not bug. But previously, I could set this in the bottom voltage and not bug. So let's see if it works. And this is a 4050 chip at 1.4 volts. So it can do this no problem. See what we got. Maybe they fixed something. One can only hope. And this one's working. So there you have it. Now you get to see, I'm using the same settings, this chip works, the other chips are not. And therein lies the dilemma. That's the way the board is supposed to work, with every single chip you put into it. But unfortunately, it's not. So, you might say, hey, guess what, the BIOS is fixed. Believe it or not, it's not fixed. You, sir, do not have a chip that bugs. So you might think you were helping. You actually didn't help, because you do not have the amount of glass that I have on hand to verify if a bug is indeed fixed or not fixed. In order to verify the bug, you need to have chips that are broken one way and chips that are broken another way. And you need to be able to identify bugs properly. Because if I went and said, you know what, this user says the bug's fixed, so we don't have to fix it. Now all the other users with all the other new chips are screwed. This is why I have many samples of CPUs. Let's try this one. This is a 1700X. This is actually a pretty decent 1700X. I think it might be a 4 gig chip on water. I'm not sure. It's probably going to end up in my system eventually. The IMC is not the greatest, but I only planned on throwing FlareX in there and fine-tuning the timers at 3200 and calling it a day. So, let's see if this one can do 4,000. At 1.4 volts. Keep in mind, I've been doing this on the stock cooler the whole time, so. I think the 1800X, the other 1800X in the tray, it's actually not mine, it's on loan from Buddy, which actually was a help because I needed a variety of date codes to test stuff out and see what was going on here. That's not a bad 1700X, huh? 4 gig on the stock cooler at 1.4 volts. That's if it went up to 4 gig. Let's see if it worked. I gotta hurry up with this video because they're gonna be calling me soon for work. And this one is working. So there you go. There's another chip working. $39.99. This is the way they all used to work, and this is the way they all should work. So that one works. One last chip to test. The 1800X, and I believe this is an older chip, so it should not bug. This was also an older chip, but it had I had to use the top setting just like the 1400 in the old BIOS. So they have fixed something a little bit, but it's not fixed. Well, that's a hot shit too. It must be a leaker. Probably why it overclocks so good. Oop. Don't do what I do at home, kids. Make sure you shut your power supply off, because when you plug the CPU in, you actually are basically hitting the power button. That's why. I go through a bunch of chips. So, what the hell? RGB? We need RGB? Not really. Anti-RGB, as many of you may well know. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. The 1700X works, which is, it's an X chip, so it's not an X problem. The 1700X, Pro 1700X does not work. There's really no difference between the Pro 1700X and the 1700X, except for the added security features. The added security features are not causing it, because we can put an 1800X in and have a problem. So, this one got freaky. What happened? Did I not clear the CMOS? Oh, it's just booting. Why is it booting? I shouldn't have booted. I cleared CMOS. Restart. Let me into BIOS. Why is the chip so slow? Chip was really slow. There we go. Alrighty. So, manual. I think this chip was abused prior on LN2, not by me, by someone else. And there you have it. Another bug chip. So we've got 5 chips over here that are bugging and 2 chips that are not. So those are not good odds. Especially because some of them are actually, this 1800 is not actually that new. So I would say that there's more users with the Multibug than there are users without the Multibug. Anyway, that wraps up this video. Please do me a favor. Just don't second guess me. I already deal with second guessing with the BIOS engineers, and I don't need foreign people second guessing my diagnosis of what's going on. It just makes more work for me, and believe me, when I have to run extremely rigorous stress tests when I deal with the engineers and I say something's not stable, and then I have to prove it, and I have to prove hours and hours and days of stability before I can get any progress and get them to work on something. So please don't second guess me. I have been doing this for a while and I do know what I'm doing. Thanks for watching. Bye.